Greetings, citizens of the Great Tree. Radamont here. Thank you for tuning in to DarkSwitch. Episode 2. Arrival of the Luminarchy. Messer, the toilers complain of panic attacks at night. Many hear whispers and moans. Shroud is getting thicker. Unfortunately, daylight still keeps it at bay. Or fortunately, rather. Alright, light the flame guards near the buildings. They will protect people at night. What should be done with the lunatics? A couple of crazy refugees managed to break free somehow. They yelled at the darkness, had crawled into their entrails, and is moving there. They said the flames could purify them. They tried to set fire to themselves and burned in the buildings. So we can send the lunatics to the healing chambers. They're crazy, not criminals, which increases fear by 2, or we can get rid of them, which increases fear by 4 and reduces the population of artisans and workers by 3 and 2 alike. And it looks like we're going to try to heal them. It was unexpectedly hard to pacify the lunatics, secure them into their beds, but doctors say it will be easier from now on. The fog hasn't taken over these unfortunate minds, which means they'll be cured. But this house did burn to the ground, so we're going to have to clean up the rubble. It also will displace even more people into becoming homeless. But before we build another house, it's going to be important to light the flame guards. So what a flame guard is it's a building which will burn wood to create light, to keep the shroud at bay, the fog at bay at nighttime, or even during the day. You can set it up for both day and night. And what's important here is in the top left we have our wood, and right now I only have 13. So what's important is to make sure that we have fuel for it at all times, because if it gets extinguished, we don't benefit from it anymore. So the large ring of the warehouse is its supply chain ring, and the smaller one is its immediate proximity bonus. And the reason why I don't have the warehouse over by the fisherman shed is I was told in-game that putting it on the ground was a bad idea. So I'm essentially just following along. Alright, it's nighttime. I really hope they build this flame guard soon. And we're going to want a flame guard on the other side as well, near the lumber camp. I just prioritized the west half first. Building contamination. If a building is shrouded by fog, it begins to become corrupted. An icon appears above it. Accidents occur in the building, stopping work until the damage is repaired. The more the building is trapped in the fog, the more accidents occur in it. Stained glass windows and other light sources protect ground structures from corruption and slowly heal buildings. The buildings themselves on the trunk heal themselves. Alright, the ideal workers for the flame guard are the rangers. So I'm going to fire 2 rangers, or actually I'm going to fire 4 rangers from collecting mushrooms, and instead... for now I'm only going to have like a night shift. But I'm putting rangers to work guarding these buildings. I'll build 2. Because we are just about out of, like, food storage for rations, I'm going to have more people breaking down the burnt-out houses for wood, so we can keep the lights lit. So unfortunately, I took a bit of an incorrect gamble. The fog didn't approach the west side, and instead approached the east side, but this flame guard is about to be constructed, so it's a self-correcting problem. A warm light of flame guards is soothing. At night, people feel far better. They no longer hear the maddening whispers leaking from the shroud. even though the nights are growing darker. All right. As you can see, it provides a buffering effect so that the fog doesn't encroach. It does mean that the path out to the fisherman's hut will be obscured because this flame guard is obviously not covering this area, so it's a partial fix. And we have a Skywalker. Those vessels are called Skywalkers, heading inbound. Okay, almost everyone's been treated. There's, I think, only one patient left to be treated. The severely physically ill one. The last of the lunatics are being cured here. Which is great. It means we'll have a larger workforce, which is super helpful. Our wood supply is low. We can't erect buildings and construct Skywalkers without wood. Build another lumberjack hut. Accept. So these are optional quests. If you meet the expectation, generally speaking, if you meet the expectation, you will get a temporary production bonus for whatever it wants you to collect. So it's saying gather 200 wood. So if I complete this within 3 days, I will get a bonus to collecting wood, a temporary bonus to collecting wood thereafter, productivity bonus. And if I fail to meet it, there are negative consequences. So when you take these on, make sure you can fulfill them. Now, collecting wood is not much of a problem, but if it was a different resource, like fish, I don't really have a lot of ability to ramp up my fish production because I only really have one fishing spot at the moment. So just be careful about accepting these quests because not all of them are going to be easily completable. All right, so here's a big choice. Luminarchy. Just the sound of this very word makes many people turn pale and shiver with fear. The Luminarchs carry the word of light and fire and sword to the furthest outposts. Their duty is to find and punish heretics, wherever and whoever they are. What do they need here? We can, 1, stop them from landing in Elrond. They're under the Archon's personal protection, or we are. Or allow them to look around, just the main thing is don't let them up there. Up there meaning our, like, secret research that we've been tasked to undertake for the Archon. So, do we allow these zealots free reign in our society? Or do we say, yeah, you don't have jurisdiction here, be gone? And if you haven't voted yet, please feel free to do so. Because it is, at the moment, okay, it's not tied anymore. Or it is. Are you guys just messing with me? Okay, we'll do top choice. The Rangers march to the berth. Their commander steps towards the Luminarch and makes a stopping gesture with his hands. And in a second, he recoils, clutching his face. His subordinates back away. Some of them drop their weapons and are beginning to rub their eyes. The Luminarch walks through the broken formation without breaking stride. This conversation will not be simple. I temporarily blinded your rangers with the power of light for a few hours, although I could have incinerated them for their audacity. Was it you who gave the order? Yes, it was me. Here is the letter of credence from Archon Balfidus himself. We are under his personal protection. And for your authority, Luminarchy is subject to the eternal light only. There were 3 signals in the sky. We rushed towards them, but we found only ruins. Those who wanted to survive fled here. But shroud worshippers might be hiding among them. Therefore, every inhabitant of this settlement will be tested on the truth machine. The will of the light must be upheld, whatever the cost. Yay, witch hunts! Woo! Alright. The Luminarchs must not learn about the device. Alright. It is daytime. And one thing we're going to want to do is to ramp up our wood production so we can meet demand. And I am going to build a lumberjack here and then set its work sphere to overlap closer to where the old one is. And we also have some homelessness. And once I get enough wood, I'll solve that one too. On top of that, I'm going to fire the toilers that were working in other fields that aren't related to wood collection to hire them here. Man, every time I do that, they like disappear. Flames that are scarier than the shroud. The Luminarchs remain idle for many hours, but then they stopped and began taking each of Elrond's inhabitants one by one to their Skywalker. They were interrogated and many were tortured. There was nothing they could do about it after all. If the Luminarchs gave the signal, their incinerator cruisers would arrive in a few days, leaving only a scorched mark on the site of their outpost. All they could do was hope that none of the inhabitants would reveal Elrond's true purpose. Well, as you can see here, the Luminarchy is now actively abducting our citizens and harming them, meaning that we will have maybe need for another healer's hut, as our people are going to be like burnt and tortured and traumatized by the governing body that's supposed to protect us. Alright, we're doing okay on food. I need to keep an eye on this resource, though, because we are taking in refugees and our food needs will change over time. Plus, the people working in the food collection sites are going to change as well. And the efficiency of collection will be modified when that happens. But here is the new lumber hut, and I'm going to move the lumber hut's working zone to here to match the original one. I am going to take the radical stance of firing all of my lumberjacks over there and hiring them over here, meaning that the fisherman's hut's going to be basically be inhabited by people that don't know how to fish. And, you know, that's like par for the course for my channel, right? That's like 100% on brand for me. Fish? Who needs it? Okay, and let's do another forest house. The other thing that I'm going to need to do at some point is to build another flame guard around here in order to keep this section safe, because we don't want the houses falling to fog. Now, the fog does encroach in a direction, but eventually it will like go around a flame guard and enshroud the area. So it's going to be important to keep this area covered as well. Oh, and there we go. Some residents are being released, having been tortured. Good, good. They're not just being killed. It's not summary executions. It's just some low-key brutality, you know, just normal stuff. And some of the people that are being released are toilers. So I'm going to put the toilers as the preferred employees of the fishing hut. Is the shroud hydrophobic? If anything, it's hydrophilic. It follows waterways more than anything else, I think. Okay, there is a scout site out here. It looks like a campfire from refugees from Ignalis, and I'm going to send my scouts out to greet them. Now, at the moment, we have, everyone has a house, and we have 4 people that have trauma, and the trauma that they experienced was from being, interviewed. So we're going to constantly have a really high rate of, injury in the colony for a bit, because the Luminarchy are a bunch of dicks. I'll just say it like it is, they're dicks. They suck. They're awful. And that's just how it is. All right, I'm gonna plop a flame guard here, covering this cluster of houses. Fugitive camp. The refugees are reluctant to speak with the rangers, but we're gonna offer them shelter. So 19 people just arrived. And yeah, that's gonna mean big homelessness, but it also is gonna mean far more workers to be able to do work, which is also good. So one thing that we're going to have to consider is ramping up our food production, because as we are adding workers, we're going to also need to add extra cookhouses, because the singular cookhouse that we already have built is not going to keep up with demand for very long. Even if we only hire the most efficient workers in there, they'll lag behind in no time. And our scouting party is ready again, but I don't see any more blue refugee markers out there right now, so I'm just going to have them stand by. So in about a day, we've already collected almost all the wood that we need. So we're easily going to meet this goal. That's not an issue at all. We have 18 homelessness. So I'm going to... Oh god, that's such a scary noise. I never get used to that. I'm going to put a forest house here, next to the cookery. And a forest house here. Oh. Several toilers stand and talk at the forest edge. Light wisps of fog rise from behind the trees, moving oddly fast. One of the brave men decide to take a closer look at the strange fog. The fog envelops him. A second later, he begins screaming loudly. Why, man? The madman runs out of the fog and begins tearing out his face with his hands, as if trying to pull the fog out. The others watch the scene in horror, frozen. Finally, they come to their senses and try to run away, but it's too late. The fog catches up with them too. The darkness has been summoned by sorcerers hiding within the settlement. It is, as the song of the Black Moon says, the shroud of the dead will cover the world. I'm a man of science. I rely solely on empirical evidence. We should have built the engineerium a long time ago. Messer, the equipment is ready. Aether Watch requires height. We'll build it as an annex to the council chamber. Okay, Helga, do you see Legatus? We're not hiding anything from you. This is just a mere research outpost. So, we need to build the engineerium, which is the research facility, and I'm going to build it up here. Because it's the height of research. I don't know. And then I was also going to build some more houses. I was about to place a house here next to the healing hut. And so far, we're faring okay. And we're even caring for refugees and housing them. So that's one house. Am I missing? Because that will... Okay, we will need more houses. With the construction of the engineerium, you can learn technologies that are useful for Elrond. In order to research, move forward, there must be shifts in the engineering. So let's take a look at that. We need to research the fog observatory technology. So in the engineerium, we want to hire, ideally, craftsmen. And I'm going to fire craftsmen elsewhere and have them move into the engineerium. So if we take a look at the engineerium, we've got 5 people out of the 8 working there. These shadows are basically like craftsmen. Once there's unemployment of craftsmen, they'll move there instead. So I'm going to keep looking for some more craftsmen. That actually might be fine for now. I'll move one of the day shift to the night shift. Cool. So open up the research tree. Technologies are divided into 4 large groups according to the scope of application. Now you can study the technologies of the first level, which are closest to the center of the scheme. More complex technologies will require you to study the previous ones and improve engineering. Some technology trees are not yet available to you, and they will be unlocked in the course of the story. The Aether Watch technology is located in the social section. Each technology has a cost of resources and difficulty in learning. The research process can be accelerated by building more engineering facilities. So, into the social tree, we want the Fog Observatory. And this will cost 45 wood to research, which I don't have at the moment. I have 42. And because it's nighttime, I don't want to research it the moment I have the resources, because our flame guards burn wood to keep the fog at bay. So I want more like 60 wood before I start embarking on that research. Can I have 2 healing houses? I can. That's only useful if the healing house is at capacity or beyond. At the moment, nobody's healing. But if we get to a point where we have like a backed up amount of people that need healing, I will consider that, yes. But the Luminarchy is starting to abduct people again. Like you do. Is there an indicator of how much longer the lamps will work based upon the current stockpile? It consumes 1 wood per every 1.25 hours. And we have 61 wood. I don't know if that answers your question, but like you can do the math if you want. Basically, you should always have like 1 wood per flame guard per hour times 5, like let's say 5 extra hours of wood. So in my case, like about 15 wood is what I'm saying, and that's exactly what I left over. Basically, if the flame guard goes out and gets overrun by fog, it's really hard to reclaim stuff from the fog. It's much easier to keep the fog at bay. You know, an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure is essentially the concept I'm trying to instill. And we are still in need of 1 more house. We still have 4 homeless, which is enough to fill half a house. Over here, we have the time remaining for the research. Obviously, I don't have a lot of craftsmen working in that research facility. So that's another thing that we could do. Is because we have a lot of rations at the moment, I'm going to fire 4 craftsmen out from the cookhouse and employ them in the engineerium. And as you can see, the Fog Observatory time has dramatically changed because it went from 1 free worker to 4 free workers, so it was 4 times faster. More or less. Oh, another thing to note is the goal of providing the wood got hit, right? So the crisis got averted for collecting the wood. People were convinced that the supply was working without interruption, which meant they should too. Building production is increased by 25% as a result of averting the wood limited crisis. Oh, and there are more refugees on the horizon. So sending my scout team out to them now. Alright, let's build another forest house. I'm just gonna plop it here. And we're gonna need even more houses because I'm about to bring in more refugees. And some of the people that the Luminarchy have captured have been released, but they're now in the healing house because they got, like, or they will be in the trauma house. As you can see, they're moving to the healer site now because they got brutalized. It's also worth noting that, like, the citizens aren't simulated, they, like, exist. So the travel time to the healer's house is, like, a physical thing for them to commute to work, commute home. It's not just, a lot of games like this will just have, like, theoretical people moving or whatever, like, theorized travel times. No, they physically move around this world. Same with the scout team. Like, I'm not really oh, we just made contact with the scout team. You must now build the Aether Watch modification. Select your council chamber. So in the council chamber, there is platforms, which you did before, but then there's this other development tab, which is like expansions on the building. And the Aether Watch is the ability to predict fog movements, and we're going to build it attached to the council chamber. If you have sufficient resources, you may begin the construction. Fugitive camp, adding more people. So we added 20 more people. I'm going to need 3 more houses, or 2 more houses. Something like that. And let's get these new refugees working in jobs they are good at. So for now, I'm going to try not to have another cookhouse, but I'm probably going to need one. So I'm filling a lot of the roles that we've got here. And we have like 10 rangers left over. But one of the rangers I'm going to have hired as a flame guard here, guarding this area, so that more of the transportation path here is like protected from the fog. I think it's going to be worth it. Plus, I can invest in infrastructure in this area, knowing that it is protected, meaning building houses there, which I'm likely to do given that we have a little bit of homelessness now. So, we finally exceeded 100 people. We have 104 people now. And only 2 are unemployed, which is pretty good. A little less than 2% unemployment. No problem there. Okay, so here we go. The council chamber now has the attached expansion, and in the bottom left we can see the prediction. So for the next 3 days we have fog level 2, and then at day 8 it will creep up to fog level 3. It becomes more foggy. And the last 2 houses we need are getting built now. Scouting party has returned. And I don't see any points of interest out there, so I'm just going to let them idle for a bit. Alright, the other thing to do is the engineerium, just because we have the fog observatory, doesn't necessarily mean we don't want other research. So there's a healing chambers upgrade, which allows us to expand the facility to support more healers and patients. And that's a lot of wood. There is the forest residence, allowing us to expand houses upwards for 45 wood. There's the larger engineerium. There is the air rail. In resources, there's also the chop shop, which is a lumberjack increase. The fishing pier, which is a fishing increase, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of research here. The exploration stuff is locked at the moment, and then there's defense as well. So one that I like to get pretty early on is lamps above the doors, which adds a little bit of illumination so that workplaces have some basic protection from the fog. But for now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to amass resources and wait for the game's tutorial to drive me towards my next research. Because I know that it will. They will tell me what to do soon. All right, so all the houses got built. Nobody's homeless. There's 4 buildings without workers because the 4 flame guards that don't have day shifts. That might change if the fog doesn't recede in the day. And then the only other thing to consider is the amount of rations that we produce. So I think it might be in our best interest now to create a cookery. And I'm going to make a cookery like down here, perhaps. Oh, okay. My men noticed lights in the shroud. They flicker strangely as if signaling for someone. They are only visible from the council chamber platform. We need to find the source of the signal. Send the squad out to search for it. I will be cautious. The Luminarchs have descended from the great tree and have gone into the forest. My rangers will return before they arrive, but the Luminarchs won't notice a thing. So the Luminarchs basically don't want us, like, messing with the fog, because anyone that goes near the fog, they just assume is, like, some sort of heretic, and they will torture you or whatever, so that's not so cool. So I'm going to start scouting into those points of interest. The full release actually just got delayed until... It was supposed to be next week, but it's delayed until April 9th. And you can read about the how and why on their store page. So tracking our rations over time, we can also track the productivity here as well. Like the stats of our people and the rate of consumption. So like rations, for instance, the consumption per day I don't think is calculating properly, but but I have noticed our total rations have been going down, despite the fact that I've staffed our original cookery up to max. Which means I want to build another one. The other thing that might be good is a warehouse for the rations, so we can stock more than 100. And then because it's late in the day and we don't have a lot of wood stockpiled, I'm going to stop using wood and instead start stocking up for nighttime. But all the trauma just got cured, so everyone that had like traumatic injuries have been healed by the healer's hut, which is good. A distant light. We've discovered the remains of woodworking. A whole shack of finished wood planks without any logs. The origin of this wood, the cutting method used, and what the lights lured us to the site remain a mystery. Once the scouts are done returning back to their HQ, I'll redeploy them out before the Luminarchs get here. If there's time. So now that I have a supply chain warehouse nearby and the council hall is closed, this cookery is going to have like really high speed of work, higher than the old one, which means I'm going to minimize the old one, put all of the craftsmen in the new cookery, and the old cookery will be like the leftover craftsmen, because the more efficient one is down here now. Additionally, the food, the fish, is being stored here, and the rations are being stored there, so it's just a very efficient supply chain. The only thing that this one is missing is houses nearby, so future houses I can build near this cookery, so that the travel time to work is shorter. Oh, and they just took a bunch of my toilers, because I can see my lumberjack hut just got depopulated. Thanks, Luminarchy. But I didn't have enough problems with the fog trying to murder me. Now you are too. Swell. You can see my current rations up here is exactly why I ramped up that second cookery, because we were pretty low. Alright, scouting party, go forth. Out to this shimmering light. And nighttime starts now. So let's see how we fare tonight versus other nights, to see if we can really hold back the fog better than we did before. And almost all of the issues that we have in our populace have been resolved, which is great. Only one person's hungry, and I'm sure they're eating right now in the cookery. Engineerium. I have 76 wood. You know what? I am gonna just get the lamps above the doors. I'll put them to work. So that research will take only like 5 hours, and that will allow us to have some basic illuminated workplaces. We discovered an overnight camp. Seems like the fog clouded people's minds. Evidence suggests they left behind in haste, leaving provisions behind. My men spotted the procession of the Luminarchs. They're not hiding at all. Indeed, they are carrying torches. Are they coming back? If so, we should stop searching right away. I don't want our people to run into Luminarchs. So the Luminarchs were doing an investigation in their nearby forests, and we just don't want to run into them. They're extremists. As you can see, Alfred Benoit, or Benoit, would be a good example of that. So, in terms of status effects here, like, this guy just got released by the Luminarchs, and he moves 14% slower, and he works 25% less efficiently, until he gets healed in the healer's hut. Because that's what they do. Breaking your bones. So I'm curious if this flame guard will keep this sort of plateau area safe, or if it will overflow. It will probably overflow eventually, but I'm curious at the rate at which it does, to figure out its efficiency of protection. So the scouting party is back. There is this point of interest out here, which is going to be a fugitive camp. And I'm trying to think, am I ready for more people? Yeah, let's do it. Save as many people as we can. The amount of raw food that we have is keeping up with demand, and now rations are as well. So, lamps above the doors. If we take a look at the work facilities here, a lantern above over the threshold is going to be the bonus that we read, and it will physically add light sources. So the light sources on these buildings aren't really enough to hold back the fog, but it will make it harder for the fog to overtake the workplace and to corrupt it. And that's true of for anywhere people work, even the places that like really don't need protection. Like up here, you know, there's still a lantern over the threshold. On the cookery up top, it just is a blanket bonus for everywhere. All right, let's see. What else do we want? Let's research forest residences for bigger homes. And yeah, it seems like the roots of this part of the tree and then the flame guard there created a bit of a choke point here where the fog doesn't really creep up as a result. Good. Thank you for tuning in to DarkSwitch, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Radamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Radamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow survivors.